let's bring in one of the great broadcasters, not only currently in the industry, but of all time, a living legend. You can hear him call the Super Bowl every single year right here on Westwood One Sports. You can hear him call March Madness every year on CBS, along with the NFL on CBS. And you can hear him this postseason calling the NBA on Amazon Prime. It is the great Kevin Harlan who joins us right now. Kevin, it's Pat and Brad. How you been, man? Thanks for joining us.
Pat, good to be on with you guys. Brad, thank you for having me on. And this Westwood One address and MGM, my daughter used to work for MGM. I work for Westwood One, so I feel like I'm talking to family. So it's great to be on with you tonight.
Absolutely. And Kevin, let's start here right into the NBA playoffs. The game coming up in just over an hour. Game one, my New York Knicks, and a rematch from 2 years ago in the postseason with a now healthy Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. This series is going to be physically demanding, intense, and I can imagine a lot of smack talk as well. Even though the Pistons are the 1 seed in the East, Kevin, would you say the Knicks are now the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, or do you actually think with Embiid healthy now that Philly can disrupt and cause more chaos here in the Eastern Conference?
Well, the last part of that I would agree with. I think Embiid is the wrench in the works. I don't know. The matchup he'll have with that front line of the Knicks will be incredibly important. He looks like he's regained his conditioning after being out the appendicitis. He has melted right in with the momentum of the team heading into the playoffs. There's a lot to like about what they're doing right now. Maxey playing well, and Paul George had a terrific game the other day. This is a kind of a surprising team. Now, the Knicks all season long have been my favorite, even with Detroit having the 60-win season that they had, and having nothing to do with the Orlando series, which they trailed 3-1 and eventually won. But I've just always kind of felt the Knicks had the right feel, the right tone. They came out of that Indiana Pacer Eastern Conference final a year ago feeling more secure. They stuck with the core. They have, I think, built upon what they had last year, and they're all a little bit wiser and a little bit more grizzled because of that Eastern Conference finals. They're used to the big spotlight. It's hard to turn your back on the Knicks, even though there were a couple times in that Atlanta series you're saying, what is going on? And then they finished it with a flourish with a gigantic win and beat them 4-2. So they've got great momentum. They're playing well. They're relatively healthy. I still like the Knicks out of the East, even if it would mean a Detroit matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals. But getting by Embiid and getting by a pretty talented roster for the 76ers is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, no question about it. Kevin, let's go out west. The Lakers were absolutely owned by the Thunder in the regular season, dropping all 4 games by 9 or more points. However, with LeBron turning back the clock and Luka Doncic on a slow path to return, he's very likely to miss game 1. Can the Lake Show make a splash against arguably the best team in the NBA postseason? And let's apply the Taco Bell sauce scale on this one. How spicy do you feel this series gets? Is it mild, medium, hot, fire, or Diablo? What do you got, Kevin?
I'll take mild. I don't think this series, even if Doncic is healthy. I did a game in Oklahoma City when it was important early in April, and they got blown out by 40-some points, 37 points. And they had Reeves, and they had Doncic, and they had LeBron. They had all their parts. And the Lakers were coming off a huge month of March where they went 14-2 and then worked their way down to Oklahoma after a homestand where they went, I think, 4-1, and they just looked terrible. And I have many concerns. Doncic, we don't know when he's coming back. Reeves is still trying to get in shape. And LeBron, I think, is exhausted mentally and physically after that series they just won. But would it surprise me if they push back Absolutely not. I mean, LeBron James is who he is, and he never disappoints, ever. And I don't think he'll be the disappointment. But will they hinge a lot of what they could do against the defending champs on the Doncic return? And there's nothing that says he'll be back at a certain time. So this matchup does not feel right, doesn't feel good. I think the Lakers are in trouble. Oklahoma City will be rested, and Oklahoma City is going to have every available player. We don't know about J-Dub and just where he stands. At least I haven't seen anything today. We know he's missed some time. We know he's prone to injury. The minutes will be restricted to some degree, I'm certain, if he does get in there and when he does play. But I think the Thunder are too tough. Now, I wouldn't say that if it were the Spurs and Thunder, but I'm definitely going to say it with the Thunder over the Lakers.
But truth be told, you do love the mild sauce. We know that based on prior admissions right here on BetMGM tonight.
Yeah.
That's your go-to. That's your go-to. We know you, Kevin.
Go-to.
All right, Kevin.
It never fails. It never fails. It's constantly in front of you, and and I think your mind plays tricks on you as well when you're putting it on. You put the hot sauce in, it kind of feels like it's mild. Put the mild sauce on, it's a little hotter than I expected. That they're interchangeable, so they're kind of connected, and that's kind of, you open it up, you don't know what's going to be in the box of chocolates, you don't know what's going to be inside that packet of sauce from Taco Bell. So it leaves you in suspense, and personally, that's the way I like it.
Yeah, crossing sauces like crossing the streams in Ghostbusters. That's a dangerous proposition, to say the least there, Kevin. Let's stay out west. The Minnesota Timberwolves have somehow ousted Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets with a ragtag group. Terrence Shannon was one of the out-of-the-shadows stars as he scored 24 points in Game 6 against Denver. Anthony Edwards, though, is likely back tonight. He participated in shoot-around today, which obviously helps enormously. But is Minnesota the deepest team still alive in the NBA postseason? Question number one. And question number two, what are your just general thoughts about T-Wolves and Spurs?
Well, I love the athleticism of Minnesota, and I love the youth of San Antonio, and I love the length of the Spurs, and who couldn't love it? And I saw them once in the first round up in Portland, and they were terrific. And that was without Wembanyama. And I've just seen the Timberwolves lose 3 guards and still win. And the emergence of Shannon. And with Edwards back, and they're going to pay close attention to that knee. Dosunmu was a star in that Denver series for a game or two, at 43 in one of them, and was spectacular. The emergence of Shannon, as I say, it's the loss of DiVincenzo that I'm anxious to see how this team fills because of his outside shooting. But he gave a grit to that team that was really indispensable, I thought, against Denver. It empowered McDaniels. It empowered Gobert. And even when he was lost, I think his presence was still felt. He was a terrific player, tenacious defensively. We know about his three-point shooting. His leadership qualities are terrific. But I do think the Timberwolves are ready for this against a San Antonio team that clearly all season long has been kind of the darling of the year. The way they've improved from last year to this, the emergence even further of and solidifying the legend of Wembanyama and where he stands after a very short couple of years in this NBA, unanimous Defensive Player of the Year. They've got some bright young players. There's a lot to like about this. To me is maybe the best series. This and the Knicks in Philadelphia are the 2 best series remaining. I love this Spurs and Minnesota series, and the Timberwolves have gone at the Spurs pretty effectively this season. I don't know that Gobert and Wembanyama will be on each other every possession, but there's going to be enough to get a feel of what that matchup is like. So you clearly cannot even take your eyes off those two and the diversity of their games. But then it's these other young slashers that are so fun to watch. We've got the 6th Man Award winner for the San Antonio Spurs. But we've got a young team that is feeling the postseason for the first time. The Timberwolves have been to the last two Western Conference Finals. They bring a lot of moxie. They're steely. They're feeling pretty good about themselves now. I don't think there'll be a letdown after what they did to Denver, because Denver was a flawed team, and some of those flaws were so on display. So to me, the two best series remaining are Minnesota, San Antonio, and the Sixers and the Knicks.
We're talking to the great Kevin Harlan here on BetMGM tonight, Westwood One Sports. He's Brad Evans. I'm Pat Boyle. Kevin calling the NBA postseason this year for Amazon Prime Video. And also, you'll hear him here on Westwood One Sports calling the Super Bowl every single year, and the NFL on CBS, along with March Madness and much more. All right, Kevin, let's finish up the fourth and final matchup here in the second round of the NBA playoffs. Cavs and the Pistons, two teams that were built very differently and yet have taken similar routes to get here. Detroit, the scrappy, young, inexperienced team last year, giving the Knicks a good run in the first round. Now they're much more experienced. It's most of that core. They're the one seed, had to battle all the way back from 3-1 down against the Magic last round. Cavs were the one seed last year, got bounced in the second round by the Pacers, then had an up-and-down regular season, which led to that major trade for James Harden, sending Darius Garland to L.A., They needed Game 7 as well to get past the Raptors. I think this series is 50-50 on paper. Cleveland boasting much more playoff experience from their stars, Donovan Mitchell and the Beard, James Harden. You know, Kevin, you've called a ton of James Harden playoff games in the past, and the ones at the end of the series don't normally go well for his teams. Do you think this is James Harden's last best chance at winning a title, in your opinion?
Well, I love the Cavs because I love Mitchell, Mobley. I mean, there's so much on that team which is really appealing. But I just saw Detroit the other night in Orlando, and they were down in that game by 24 points, 22 at the half, and they came back to win in the largest elimination game comeback on the road in NBA playoff history. And I think in that win, in that comeback, they learned a lot about themselves. And sometimes those lessons that are learned in the regular season are hard to apply to the postseason because the environment is so different. But this one was done in the postseason. It was done on the road against a team that gave them fits clearly, and they came back from a 3-1 deficit to win it. So they've already gone through a lot. I think it's confidence building. So I really like the Pistons. 60-win team. They're very together. Cunningham has had a terrific go at it. They've developed their bench. I like the way that JB is coaching that team. Their coach, JB Bickerstaff. And Detroit to me just has the feel of a team that's going to make their way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think they're going to benefit from that Orlando series. Cleveland and Toronto going 7 games probably caught some people by surprise, and rightly so. In the playoffs, like March Madness, when these games are so important, tempo slows a little bit, the court shrinks a little bit to a half-court game. It is hard to deny what Mitchell and Harden could mean for Cleveland. And James knows that clock is ticking. To your point, I think they're going to give Detroit everything they can handle, but I do like the Pistons, and maybe it's because I just saw them a couple nights ago, and the way they came back, and then again won last night to clinch that series. I just think you've been number one in your conference. You've proven that over the course of a season. You've weathered what you have to weather. They're 3 deep at center. I do like that, too, against Mobley. They're going to have to burn a lot of fouls against a pretty good front line of Cleveland. But they go 3 deep at that center position, with Reed being number 3, Stewart the second one, and then Jalen Duren, of course, and his terrific play as a starter. But Detroit, to me, has a pretty good feel to it. I like this series. I don't like it as much as the other two, but this is a very interesting series because there are some big names on display. Haven't even talked about Kate Cunningham in depth, but he had a big 45-point night, in Game 4 to get to Game 5. or Game 5 to get to Game 6, and then has been the leader all season long. So I'm bullish on the Pistons. I think their record speaks of what they are, and it would not surprise me if we see a Detroit-New York Knicks final in the East.
Ooh, I like that one. Kevin, let's pivot away from the NBA real quick. We absolutely love your calls on the college hardwood, but with the NCAA tournament almost inevitably going to 76 teams, what are your thoughts on the madness expanding? 68 teams, to me, seem like a perfect format. That's why many in the industry have really pushed back on the swelled format overall, but is more basketball in March a bad thing?
Well, if you look at some of these early games, the point difference between these double-digit seeds and we get early in the tournament. I mean, I think the average was 17-point wins. I mean, it was really. I just think what I can't understand is why we're not valuing more the breadth and the length and the ups and downs of the regular season. And if we've got to go through these conference tournaments, isn't that a quasi-NCAA tournament anyway? The days of the Cinderella with NIL and everything else, they're basically gone. So if we're looking to add more of those kind of stories, I think you're looking in the wrong place. The number 64 to me was terrific. 68 with the play-in you could live with. But to add more to it, I mean, people much smarter than me are dealing with this, and I respect the people that run this tournament immensely. But I do think that we've got the whole regular season. We've got conference tournaments all over the map. Shouldn't that be enough to make at least getting a bid for the tournament so precious, so special, such a big deal? And now we're handing it out to fringe teams. If you extended this year to 76 and saw those other 8 teams or whatever it was going to be to get in, you go, well, this is a pretty mediocre team, and they're just you water it down. I get it for football. I get maybe expanding that by another 2 to 4 teams. I can understand that far better than making this 76. And if we're going to do it to 76, then let's do without the conference tournaments. Because all you're doing now is just clogging the schedule. You're extending the inevitable. I mean, it's just I don't know. I see more empty arenas in these conference tournaments than I see full, and it's just another money grab. Well, won't this be the money grab now? Won't this make up for all these missed? I'm just having there's so much going on with college basketball, a sport that I love and enjoy about as much as anything I do, but to continue to expand this for expansion's sake, I'm sure there's an explanation that I could probably buy, but this early into it, if it does all come about, is really, it's pretty perplexing.
Preach!
Yeah, hell of a point there. Hell of a point from Kevin Harlan, who's with us here on BetMGM tonight, Westwood One Sports, for another 2 minutes or so. He's Brad Evans. I'm Pat Boyle. Man, I mean, that was awesome. Awesome answers, Kevin. We really appreciate it, man. I got one more for you, though, a fun one. Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. I almost said it like an idiot there. Cinco de Mayo is tomorrow. Does that mean there is a more than likely chance we get a Taco Bell trip for you to celebrate tomorrow? I mean, you got to be living Mas on Cinco de Mayo, no, Kevin?
Well, I love Taco Bell as much as anybody, and I'm through that drive-through and as anxious to eat it as anybody that's getting ready to eat it. But there are a few places close to our home. We're in Kansas City that have got incredible Mexican food. Great margaritas, and Taco Bell is available 24/7, 365. But on a special day like this for our neighbors to the south, I want to really celebrate. I'm going to sink my teeth into something that's maybe a little bit more authentic, and not just like I'm hurried through. I want to sit down and enjoy it. So tomorrow, I was just talking to my wife about this, just outside, just a second ago, where we're going to go. We got a couple different places, and I'm going to enjoy every bite of it, and I cannot wait for it. I salute our neighbors to the south, and we'll celebrate with you hand in hand, arm in arm tomorrow night at some locale here, and enjoy every bite and every celebration of your rich and terrific heritage.
Oh, amen.
Well, that is about as perfect as a way to wrap it up as possible. And look, there's nothing wrong with Taco Bell, right? But yes, if you get an authentic Mexican cuisine on Cinco de Mayo, then yeah, you probably are living it up the best way that you possibly can. But Kevin, no matter what touches your taste buds tomorrow, we know that we've got one of us, a Taco Bell lover, just like me and Brad are. So, hey, enjoy all the games that you're going to get to call here for Prime Video the rest of the postseason. And look, I mean, we're only a couple of months away from football, so I know that it's only a couple of weeks away until we get to hear Kevin Harlan on the NFL on CBS. But we're going to soak in every moment of these NBA playoffs with you. We appreciate the time as always, and can't wait to catch up with you soon.
Thanks, guys. Always fun to be on. And as we get closer to camp and the NFL season starting, and it's going to be another incredible year in the NFL, we'll have a chance to visit again, I'm sure. But congrats on the show and your far reach in so many different platforms. Being a part of the Westwood One family, you've added to this incredible portfolio of different events and shows they have, and it's a real pleasure to be on with you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
There you go, the great Kevin Harlan.